Hello and welcome to episode 15 of the Livewire Game Show. Dill still has a sippy cup, and Stephen is apparently wearing an Apex t-shirt, but it's actually Reebok. This week we are going. Huh? I'm still layman, yeah.
Can you imagine the smell of that jumper?
It was only washed.
Worn every season.
Look how clean it is. It's only washed. Anyway, apart from the hood. This week, we are going to do our first review. I think it's our first. We're going to review a game, and that game is the currently very popular Titanfall 2.
Which, might I add, we said we'd do it before.
Yeah, it's like...
which is funny enough.
Yeah, we decided, we're like, we're going to play... 2 weeks ago, we were like, right, we're going to play it because of the new season of Apex coming out.
Yeah,
how they kind of link in together. We want to talk about a game and review a game together, and... we said Titanfall because the campaign isn't short and it's got great critical acclaim. And we did it. And then last weekend, they fucking put it up on Steam for free. And the game went gangbusters. So what perfect timing. Perfect timing.
I was literally waiting for server issues as well the whole time.
Yeah, same. But yeah, a 2021 review of a 2016 game. And it's actually quite appropriate. Who could have called it? Anyway,
Which
before
has
we get
aged very well.
Yeah, it's aged very well. But before we get into that, we'll do our normal catch up, make sure everyone's doing okay, see how we're all doing, and what we've been up to. So, Stephen, how have you been the last week or so? What have you been up to? I've got a piece of chicken looking at me, and I want to eat it.
Go eat it. Go on. You've already been teasing me with it. No, this week, gaming wise, I would say I completed Oddworld, but it's probably more correct to say Oddworld decided it was finished with me. So I got the bad ending, which basically was like, right, you are going to be klutz, blow up the train, blow up all this shit, and yep, game over. Go back to the start and do it all again. And don't be a fucking idiot and save everyone. So I have to go back now and do level selects to save 80% of the Medokins in every mission. But the problem now is, you have to do it in one go. So I can't just... It's the Returnal problem.
It's can't turned into down halfway.
Well, ironically, speaking of bad endings...
Yeah, so that's put me right off now, so I don't know how I'm going to do that.
And that's all because you missed a person or two, wasn't it? Like, you knew that very early on that you were going to get shot.
Yeah, you have to get 80% of the Medokin saved in every level up until that point to get the good endings. And... because I missed it in like mission 3 because they were in some hidden area. I was like, fuck that. And then it went on. And I was like, all right, it actually just abruptly ends the game on you. It's like, yeah, you died. Like, tough. You go back.
There's no culmination for the story or anything. It's just...
There is. The culmination of the story is you killed the thing you're trying to protect. Shit happens. And then the game's like, yeah, that's it now. If you want the good ending, go back and save.
No hero ending.
Yeah, they tie it in, and you're like, when it happened, I was like, oh shit, what's going on? And then the game ended. I was like, well, that's bullshit. It makes sense, but I was like, it's just annoying, especially because there's no pause and resume feature now where it was in every other mission. It's like, why are you making me? You're doubly punishing me now.
Phoenix Rising kind of has that, and I don't like it, where when you finish the game, you have to go back to before you beat the last boss. So in the world, it's still corrupted and stuff like that. But it's kind of like, I want to experience it from the point of view where I've beaten it and I've saved it, you know? But you have to go back a previous save if you want to do that. Which, yeah, it's stupid.
That's what I need to go back and do now. No, I need to go back and play that now. I've forgotten what to play. And then otherwise, I tried the intro mission, the Scavengers, tried to log into Apex.
We need to talk about that.
Yeah. Tried to log into Apex while everyone else is having issues. So still haven't played that. And yeah, so other than that then, been a good week.
Nice.
Can't complain.
Kev, what are you up to?
I actually had a good game. I played lots of games in the last week. I got a bit further into Demon Souls. I think I finished up the second, whatever you want to call it. You go kill the dragon god. I haven't done any more progression after. I did a little bit more after that, but got sidetracked with other things. Was playing some Scavengers, as you mentioned, Stephen, playing that with Dylan, Etsky, and Scavengers is really goddamn good. If you haven't played it, check it out. It's basically a cross between the Division's Dark Zone and Fortnite without the building.
And a few Gambit modes in there as well.
Yeah, and it's brilliant. Like, it really is brilliant. It's in early access. It's free on Steam. So honestly, like, go check it out. Like, it's really good. It's 3-player. You have teams of 3, and it's PvEVP. So you've got enemies on the map. You've got hordes of enemies that you can clear out, and you get the data off them. And then the object is to basically upload all your data. You can do it through points on the map, or you can survive till the end and get on the ship and get extracted. But it's really, really good. That last, like,
which is a shit show in itself.
Yeah, that last 5 minutes of, like, trying to extract
chaos.
It's like, it reminds me of the Dark Zone in Division, where someone's called in an extraction and then the whole fucking server has just arrived to fight for it, and there's like 5 or 6 teams going battling it out, and it's really good though, honestly.
It's the scene in Endgame where they just all come out of the
yeah. But that's what it feels like. It's because everyone's going to the same focal point, obviously. But
yeah, because there's only one extraction ship. Like, there's not like there's 3 or 4 of them dotted out. So it has that battle royale kind of feel if the map is closing on you. And
they tend to put it in valleys as well, whereas, like, it's just a fucking sniper's playground.
Yeah.
If you like, sometimes you can run in and be the first team to hold it, but you kind of don't want to be that team, because then you'll have 4 other teams kind of rushing you from each side.
But there's no better feeling in it than when the end of game leaderboard comes up and your team is extracted, say 1,200 or 1,500, and then it's just 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 the whole way down because nobody else got on the ship. Yeah,
we had a game like that as well.
Yeah, it's so satisfying. But other than that, I've been kind of deep diving back into Apex again. I kind of didn't play Apex the last couple of seasons, so I have to put a bit of work in to catch up to play ranked with the boys. But no, that's fantastic as well. Apex is Apex. We'll talk about that a bit more in a while, I guess, when we're talking about Titanfall. But yeah, the new season launched. Not the biggest fan of arenas. Knew I wouldn't be. I have reasons. I think in concept it's great, and it has some really good features and mechanics. But it just kind of, despite those the mechanics that are trying to stop the passive gameplay, it still is very passive. For a lot of teams, the bow is quite overpowered, and it's sniper. It's like playing Trials in Destiny, where they just prop themselves up on a fucking building across the map and just pick at you, and gets very boring. But other than that, been playing the Battle Royale and getting back into that and enjoying myself.
Nice.
That's really it. What I've done this week.
It's one of your busier weeks of gaming, anyway.
Yeah, I've played loads of games this week. Louise must fucking hate me. And and then obviously on Sunday, I think I sat down and completed Titanfall 2, or Monday, one of the days. Literally just sat down and completed it in 2 sittings. Played it for 3 hours. Went and had food. Came back and finished the game off. And we'll talk about that when we get into it.
Nice. Yeah.
Go on, Dill. Copy everything I said, because we've basically done the same thing all week.
We've basically done the same thing. Started off playing a lot of Scavengers over last weekend when it came out. Literally played till like 3 a.m.
I don't know where it came from. I didn't even hear this coming out from anywhere.
Yeah, like I don't know where I saw it first, but then Etsky saw it too, and then it was kind of like, right, you like it, and I want to play it, so let's try it. And we were playing that with Des for the first 2 nights. We were playing that for fucking 8 to 10 hours both nights. It was fucking crazy. It was really good. It's a great gameplay loop that it doesn't get repetitive. You're doing the same thing over and over, but it's very situational in each encounter. Playing that for a couple of days, and then my WoW daytime plays were back. It's just grinding fucking world quests and dungeons just to creep up to that level where I might join a guild and do a raid, which I said not 2 weeks ago that I wouldn't do, but it's getting to that stage where I want to, especially the way the story is going with the next update coming out in hopefully August. 9.1, which is Chains of Domination. The story of that is supposed to be huge on Azeroth itself, so kind of want to play it. Like, I've watched previous raid videos on just to get the story and the cutscenes and stuff like that, but just to actually be involved in it, like Destiny. It's the raid always has that nice kind of tie-in to the main campaigns and stuff like that. So I've just been playing that for quite a bit. Playing Apex. I was part of the sitting there for 6 hours trying to get one game on the first day. Didn't happen.
Great,
much.
that first game was fantastic though.
You have 100% win rate in arenas.
It was back to sitting there for another 6 hours.
Then, yeah, I've been playing Apex for the last couple of days, jumping on for a couple of hours here and there, trying out Valkyrie, which she is really good. Takes getting used to, obviously, movement-wise. But yeah, no, she's really not viable character for being aggressive, but she's more relocating, and yeah, you can play height. You have better kind of maneuvers compared to being a non-movement character like Horizon or whatever. But yeah, I enjoyed that. Didn't touch Monster Hunter this week. To everyone's surprise, I'm sure.
Don't believe it. Nope.
Just want to take a week or two off and then jump back into it. Because that to me is getting a bit repetitive, where it is literally the same thing over and over and over. So if you're not feeling something, don't play it. Stop playing it for a week or two.
Keep that shit
then come
out
back
of here.
to it.
No, keep that shit out of this fucking show. You go on Twitter and you complain about it, okay?
Yeah. So I don't want to burn out on
it.
/
S for anyone who's not certain, by the way. Not being completely sarcastic.
Yeah. So my plan for next week, actually, I want to play the DLCs for Phoenix Rising. So I'm going to pick them up. They're 15 quid on their own, or you can get them all together for 40.
Wait till the following week.
Yeah.
I'm off all next week.
You have to play the base game first.
Not Phoenix Rising.
I said.
I'm off all week.
Oh, okay. I get you. But yeah, that's been my week. Pretty busy in terms of my gaming rotation, as always, because the government are still a lot of shite. But anyway, that's another story.
Still jealous about it though.
Still jealous about you going to work. Sorry. Yeah.
I'll happily trade for a week or two.
No problem. You can even keep the wages.
I'll take that, please.
Yeah.
But yeah, never. To be honest, they wouldn't know the fucking difference. That's the thing. Well, with Stevens, they might, because he's highly qualified. But like, I'm sure you could probably do
the same person.
You could probably do my job for a week and no one would notice. Don't sign off the emails with your own name.
I would though. That's how I'd fuck it up. Yeah.
Anyway, shall we move on to our main topic?
Yeah, let's.
Which is the Titanfall review. So we'll split it. We won't just do a hell for leather verbal diarrhea review. We'll actually break it down.
It was great. The end.
It was great. I love this. I love that. So how about Cyberpunk? So yeah, we'll break it down. We'll talk about the general gameplay, so the sandbox, the movement, the shooting, the gameplay, and I think that's probably the strongest point for me, anyway, of the entire game. Like, for me, it rivals anything. Even though Titanfall came out 5 years ago, nearly 5 years ago, and the gameplay is as good as anything out there still, I would think anyway. Like, the on-the-ground stuff is so mobile, so agile. Like, the sliding spawn into Apex, and lots, like, Scavengers also has that kind of slide mechanic that builds up your speed, builds up momentum. The wall running is fantastic. Then you've got the shooting holds up. Like, all the guns are fantastic across the board. The gunplay is fantastic. You can pick up any gun and it feels powerful in your hands. And that's before even getting onto the Titans. What do you think?
Yeah, all round, like, in terms of the campaign, it was one of my favorite campaigns. I can see why everyone does say it's one of their up there campaigns. It felt very compact without being too short. Like, you had your goal that you set out to do, and it was short. Yeah, like, there's no taking away from that it could have been expanded, but at the same time, it did feel like a full circle. You set out what you had to do. the missions were broken up really, really well. No two felt the same. That was one thing that I really.
What
really
about
enjoyed.
the guns?
Huh?
The movement and the gameplay.
I'm getting on to that.
Movement shoot, and you're going to everything. You're spoiling it all. You've only 16 words.
Do you want me to talk or not? I'm getting it all out in one spurt so I can not talk for the rest of the podcast. Keep everyone here for 3 hours. Right, guns. Yeah, I love the Apex weapons. So having kind of different iterations of them. The Wingman was there. The OR-97, the Volt, Flatline, Spitfire. They feel great, and I was playing it on PS4 as well, so my bullet magnetism was fucking insane. Auto lock on was great. But one thing,
your eyes closed,
basically. But you do take a lot. Like, that was one thing I felt. They're not bullet sponges, and neither were you. Like, if you took 3 hits, you were red.
Actually, that's good. What difficulty did you play on?
Normal.
You played it on normal. I played on hard and had the same experience.
Yeah, literally, you can't you can't just run and gun. Like, you can try, but you'll be in a bit of a sticky situation more times than none. But another thing about the weapons I really enjoyed was that the variety. It didn't force you to play it, but you have your weapon restocks It felt like whenever I was getting low in terms of magazines left, I was never without ammo. And that was, I know you're killing the enemies and you can take their weapons, but the actual restock walls were very frequently placed that
they were. Yeah.
It was enough to get you from point A to point B without being like, shit, I've no ammo, I have to double back on myself to go back to that last one. But that was one thing I really enjoyed. But yeah, all the weapons are great, like Double Take and fucking Kraber was in it as well.
Oh, the crab was fun. Well, you got the crab in one of the missions, just like, oh, I feel like a god.
Yeah, because the first time you get it, the enemies have it as well. So you peek and you're just fucking one shot then. Yeah.
Any enemy hit you with that, it hurt.
Yeah. But no, guns in it are amazing. And I think it was nice having that relatability to playing Apex. But I could still see it if I didn't have any kind of experience on Apex. Jumping into it, the gunplay would feel nice. But it was nice that was familiar. And just, that's all I said. I just spoke about guns. I didn't speak about anything else. I didn't hear the topic, okay?
Gameplay. Just the general gameplay. How the sandbox plays, how the movement works, what the shooting's like. Just general moment-to-moment gameplay. How did you find it, Stephen?
I feel like I actually disagree with quite a lot of what you both said.
What?
So, I do. So
get that Apex t-shirt off of you.
I think so. The fast, fluid movement is, for me, that was the key part. You know, the wall running, the sliding, how quick everything felt. Like, that made the gameplay loop for me enjoyable.
I think that's actually, just to come in quickly on that before you move on to the next part. I actually think that should be the benchmark of movement in gameplay. How good it is and how refined it is. Because you can build up serious momentum, and it's something that's in Apex. Like, the skill gap in Apex isn't necessarily your gameplay or your shooting; it's your movement and being able to move quickly and relocate quickly. And in Titanfall 2, that's obviously where they created that movement, and that movement it's the benchmark. It should be the benchmark for how movement is in shooting games. I'm not saying everything has to have wall running and wall jumping and all that, but just the quality of it should be the benchmark. Sorry, Stephen.
That's okay, because you just coming off my controversial point, which is the gunplay is only okay. It doesn't feel anywhere near as good as Destiny 2, and all the weapons felt pretty much identical and didn't feel good to use. So there was only 2 weapons that I actually kept using, and I think that was the Volts and whatever the 3-shot.
Just to clarify, you played it on PC with a mouse and keyboard, yes? Or a controller?
PC, mouse and keyboard. And it's worth pointing out that I don't play Apex, so I haven't played Apex, so I don't have the same level of familiarity with the weapons, so I'm coming in cold to this. So you probably have weapons that you like using and could relate to them, but for me, all the weapons felt shite, bar 2 of them. and only because they were essentially to me the only weapons that did damage. The rest of them felt kind of like, yeah, they're shite.
I really I agree with you that the gunplay is not the same standard as Destiny. Because Destiny's gunplay, every gun kind of feels unique. It has its individual sounds, it has its individual kind of animation. They all have feel like somehow, even though you're using one of these, a gun can feel heavier or lighter to use, or etc. But I think in Apex or in Titanfall 2, like they didn't quite feel as good as Destiny's obviously did, but they felt just as good or better than, say, a weapon in Call of Duty would feel. The shooting was just as good as in any of the other competitors across the board.
I'm not saying it's bad. Yeah. What I'm saying is it's okay. I wouldn't say it's a strong point. It was serviceable. It did the job. I could point at the enemy and click them and they die. But it just, to me, it wasn't a strong feature in it. And in terms of the gameplay, I think the fluid movement is what made it enjoyable. If it was just the weapons, I think I would have given that up a long time ago.
I do agree with that. I do agree with the fluid movement is the best feature of the gameplay. But like I found when I was playing, like I know Dil, you were saying that you always felt you could restock the guns you were using, but I actually played it the opposite way, that if I was running a bit low, I'd just pick up the next fucking gun I could find, because I thought they all felt quite good. Now, obviously, from playing Apex, I have that familiarity, so I didn't pick up, say, an L-Star. I know you said the L-Star.
L-Star was a truck in this game, dude.
Yeah, but like, from playing Apex, I see an L-Star and I go, get away from me. But I found that no matter what, like I could be running an R207 or whatever it's fucking called in Titanfall, and run low on ammo and go, oh shit, what do I have near me? A Spitfire, that'll do. And you were just... And I do agree that like, the guns didn't have the same kind of individual identities the way they would, say, in a Destiny gun would have. But I still found the actual gunplay was... like...
Do you think that's something because we didn't spend a lot of time with the weapons? Like, there was no going back and doing... How do I phrase it? You're just going from mission to mission, and you're picking up what's there, and you're starting off with whatever's given to you. Whereas there's no like, you're taking this gun, you're going to do whatever with it, and then it's digesting. You get the feel of it, and then you're still using it. Whereas you're just continuing to use something else, something new. And especially if you don't have that knowledge of Apex, Stephen, that probably would be something that comes into play, maybe. But for me, like, for example, the L-Star and Devo are energy weapons, and I feel that they feel a difference in terms of using a 301.
They have a different audio to them.
Yeah. And even like the bullet spread on it as well, very different. Same with the Spitfire and Flatline. You know that they're heavy hitters, slow firing a little bit. Yeah.
I'm also I'm gonna just throw it. I didn't put it down there, but the grenades. Why the fuck do the grenades take half a year to blow up? If I throw a grenade at a group of enemies...
Fire stars, bitch!
Fire stars, that's what they were called, yeah. They were great! I didn't use normal grenades because, they were shit. They took forever to explode, I agree.
Yeah.
But fire stars were fucking great.
Fire star, yeah. They were great.
Fire stars and the satchels, they were good.
Oh, yeah.
The satchels, were fine.
Sorry, Stephen,
some
you
other
point on that.
No, I'm just I've other points there. So in terms of gameplay, so I felt the Titan combat is fun for a while, but it's quite clunky, and if you're in it for a while, it's not enjoyable. In saying that though, when you're fighting another Titan, all that shit goes out, and it's the coolest experience ever.
Yeah, like, it's great.
When you're killing small enemies, you're like, this is boring
because it's very hard to get them, isn't it? Like it's like that's why I kept rotating back to the first set where you have the tracking missiles, because I was like, I can't actually physically aim at you with a fucking LMG. But here's a rocket.
And that's actually that's my last point then. The Titan loadouts were shite. Like for me, I found myself going back between the same two. And the only reason was because I liked the Vortex shield. That was really cool and handy. But the weapons on those, like you had just a normal shooty gun, and then it was like the ion energy gun. And the two of them were the only two that felt like you did damage. other than the sniper. The sniper was cool.
That's not great.
But you have to fucking load it for an hour. You're like, all right, hold on. And then he moves, and you're like, well, fuck you. So.
And you're not as much of a tank as you think you are in that armor as well.
No,
especially if you are fighting other Titans and there's more than one, or if there's Reapers running around.
Yeah. So, like, overall, I enjoyed it, but I wouldn't say it was... Looking back, I would have said it was class a week ago. Playing it again, I'm like, it's not as good as I remember.
Okay.
But it's still, like, if it's your first time playing it, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I found the Titan combat was just absolutely chef's kiss. Like, I
wish they threw a jetpack on the back of it, because it did feel like
there was one that had the you could lift
one of your abilities.
One of the abilities.
Yeah.
But
I didn't find myself. Yeah, that would have been good. I didn't find myself going back and using previous ones though. I just picked up whatever one was next and went, right, gonna use this one till I get the next unlock. And then when I got a new unlock each time, I just kept using that unlock over and over until I got the next one. Just to try out all the different ones, because I knew I was gonna play it from A to B and then never go back and play the campaign again. Because I generally don't replay games.
Yeah, I'm the same.
And especially
But in terms of the Titans' abilities, they kind of fell short for me in terms of I wish you could pick and choose what you wanted.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. Yeah,
that's what I would have liked. That when you get an upgrade,
was the best one to me, and then the last one you get. Yeah, like the last one was really good.
Yeah.
But in saying that, I'd like to take the block shield from the last one and the weapon from the last one, but then use the abilities from something else.
Mm-hmm.
Like
that's
the
what I would have
liked
to be able to do, is get like your Q weapon. I was going to call them Q and E and whatever weapons that you could take one weapon from this Titan and put it on my left arm.
Yeah.
One weapon from this Titan, put it on my right arm.
Yeah.
Take this sword and just mix and match. I would have really enjoyed to do that.
Yeah. Because then you would have felt more.
It would have felt more personal.
Of control on it. Yeah.
It would have felt more personal.
Yeah. Would have felt like yours.
Yeah. Rather than here's your curated loadout.
Yeah.
Try and enjoy it.
Yeah. So shall we move on from talking about the guns and that and the gameplay, and we'll go on to that A to B that I was speaking about. And for me, the campaign, so the overall campaign, not to be confused with what I'm saying, the overall, so the A to B campaign is the weakest part of the game for me. And I don't mean that as a skating review of it. It's fine, it's serviceable, but it felt like it was an action movie story. As in,
it's generic.
It was generic. It was, right, we need to have some sort of story. What are we doing? Just fight the bad guys. Why are we fighting the bad guys? We don't know. Just fight the bad guys. And it was like,
figure it out later.
Yeah, so it was like
they're trying to blow up your fucking planet.
You didn't know that at the start.
But why are they trying to blow up my planet?
Because they're dickheads.
Yeah, but that's the part that I mean, is that it's just that here's your story, play through the missions. We need to have a story for those missions. Here's what we do. They're bad guys, and you have to stop them doing their bad things.
How'd you know we're not the dickheads? We could have
exactly
blown up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we're not, because they are.
Yeah, but
they talk like dickheads.
But while I think the A to B story, or the overall arc of the campaign, was weak, I thought the intricate stories within that were fantastic. They were deep and meaningful, and there was a lot of development in those. I just felt like the actual A to B was like, it's fine. It did the job. But it wouldn't be like after you played The Last of Us for the first time, deal, where you're like, oh, that was that the narrative drove that game. The narrative doesn't drive Titanfall. It's the gameplay, it's the movement, it's the shooting, it's just the fun of it drives it forward, rather than I want to know what the ending is, because the ending was whatever it was. But the ending was actually good, but like the rest of it was whatever.
Like, I'm
not complaining about it, by the way.
No. I'm just saying I like the missions in terms of you're not doing the same thing over and over.
Yeah,
it's very, very good that there's no repetition. I didn't feel.
Yeah, no, that's what I actually, when I looked at it, I kind of separated the campaign and the overall campaign from the individual missions. Because I agree, the individual missions are one of the strongest points of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the campaign itself, the narrative that's driving you to do what you're doing is just generic derivative sci-fi shooter.
Yeah, it was like Pacific Rim. It was, the demons are coming, we have to kill them. Okay.
Yeah, but
Or whatever, the
then I think
kaiju. Sorry, sci-fi fans.
But I think that's why it's worth separating the story and the campaign from the missions, because the moment to moment parts in the missions are great.
Yeah.
The campaign driving it is just generic. But in terms of the campaign, like, I think the fact that it was short worked in its favor, because if that was dragged out for 4 or 5 more missions, you'd be going, come on, like, this is you're pulling at straws to make this work, whereas the 5 to 6 hour campaign just worked for it. And
I do think it's worth remembering, though, that Titanfall 2 was developed as to be a multiplayer game. It was developed to have that online multiplayer.
Yeah.
Like Battlefront
esports.
2, the way they just threw a story into it.
Yeah. Exactly. And that the campaign for the campaign for Titanfall, that's the second time I've called it the wrong name. The campaign for Titanfall 2 was made as, we need a campaign. And when you look at it from it was put together for the sake of being put in the game, I think it's fine. It's great because of what it is.
Gives more story to a multiplayer game.
Yeah.
But I would disagree to some extent, because if you look then at the characters, okay, a character is really strong in that. Like, they put a lot of effort in developing one character, BT, greatest character ever, the best character. And so I do think there was some thought and effort gone in. It wasn't just that let's just throw together a generic piece of shit just so people will buy the game for the single player and stay for multiplayer. Like, there was something gone into it. So I would go on.
No, finish what you're saying.
No, I rambled, so stop me.
Like, just on speaking about characters there, one thing I didn't like was the throwing in the mini boss for the sake of throwing in a mini boss. Like, how many named people that you can't remember now did you fight at the end of missions that didn't culminate to anything? And like, Blisk and Sloan were the two, because you constantly hear their dialogue throughout the whole campaign, and they did feel like endgame bosses.
Yeah, and just on like that, we'll move on to speaking about the individual missions then from the campaign. We actually move on to the missions here. So go, Vandal.
No, just like Viper, like with this season of Apex, all the talk was around Viper. It's his daughter who's in Apex now. And I was like, where is this guy? Because he doesn't come in till like the second last mission, and he just randomly comes in when you're on the convoy, or the envoys, or whatever they're called, the ships. He just literally comes out and fights you as the final boss. And it's kind of like, he's dead. And in fairness, he does have a cool part where you kill him, and then he comes back and tries to kill BT and blah, blah, blah. But he's gone. The same with Ash. Ash is a big name in Apex, and we've done a lot of stuff to do with the comics and stuff like that over the last couple of seasons to find her head and stuff like that. And I was like, oh my god, she must be a big character in Titanfall. But she has one set of dialogue towards the end of her mission, and then you kill her at the end of it. And I'm kind of like,
in a 6-hour campaign, she is a big character. But see, I'm speaking here from, like we all are, I think, that we don't know the background lore to a lot of this, and there clearly is a lot of lore to do with the game that we don't know, and we apologize for not knowing that. But I found that each mission in Titanfall, it kind of reminded me of Borderlands in a way. That the beginning of the mission, it's like, here's your boss, here's the baddie, here's a cool cutscene. Oh, they're bad, and they say something really snarky to make you angry at them, and it's like, oh, I gotta go kill them now. So it was very Borderlands-y in their setup, but I found that, like, I think Dill said this a few minutes ago as well, that no two missions were the same. They were all very unique and very memorable because they were unique. Because each mission had, I know you're saying like like Viper came out, and it's like, he's dead. But he had a really cool set piece that you'll remember. Like he had that you're fighting them on top of the ships, or you had the one where you're running through the sorting factory, and it's creating the shells of the houses around you, and then you go up on the elevator to the top, and you're standing there, and then it starts to build the actual arena you're about to fight in around you. And I think the only disappointing part of that was that there was no really fucking awesome fight in it. It was kind of you have to survive for so long, and eventually we'll get you out. It was like the ending of the Hunger Games, where they blow a hole in the ceiling and then come in and save. Spoilers for Hunger Games, and also spoilers for Titanfall 2, by the way. But I found like each mission was unique in the way it was done and created. Like, what was there? There was 9 missions, and each of them were they were fantastic. Like, I know they're only about 20-minute, half-hour experiences, but each mission by itself is better than the overall thing. Was there some of
the
it
missions
greater
as well?
It's the opposite.
Some of the parts is greater than the whole. Yeah. The
thanks, Stephen.
like the thing with the mission. You're welcome. The thing with the missions is like and I think you captured it there. Like they're 20 to 30-minute experiences, and the devs need to be like given huge kudos for this, because the world's design and the level design is the best in any shooter. Like when you think about how many times
it's made by
say
people who know how to make games. Like
it's
made, but the developers are fantastic.
Each level is completely different and unique, has something really cool going on within it. Like in the factory, you're going through the factory to see what's happening, and you go, they're building these little mini homes, and you go up to the virtual reality deck and fighting on the ships and like infiltrating the different ships. Like it's really cool, and I won't talk about that mission, but they're amazing. One thing I really hated about the missions, though, is that there's a serious lack of enemy diversity. So after a few minutes, what I found myself doing was going, I just need to speedrun this. So I was literally just finding the quickest routes to get through with the minimal shooting. I was just bored of shooting them.
And I actually think that's why the baddies, the bosses stand out, because the minute to minute is fairly repetitive in their enemies that you're fighting, but the bosses are very diverse than anything else. Like they each have their own individual character, their own kind of I do this thing. And I think to touch on that point, the final boss actually was a bit of a letdown when you look at what some of the other bosses had throughout the game. Like you had Viper on the ships, you had I'm trying to think of the other ones.
The first guy, whatever he was.
I can't think of his name. But then you had like the big battle on the last mission where it's Titan v Titan, and
Kane was the first one. I think.
Kane, yeah.
We have to breach their wall, and you got these. But the final boss was just a generic room, and there was nothing really amazing going on. Now, the cutscene you get after that is fantastic, and full spoilers for the ending. BT sacrifices himself, basically, or BT sacrifices itself. Sorry, internet.
Ship of TC's question here, Dale.
But the final boss room was very... I didn't, sorry. The final boss room was very generic. It was just, it's...
Yeah, like, to me, the Viper fight was the most, not difficult, but the most where you're kind of like, I can't just stand here, dip in and out, cover. Like, he's flying around. Like, he's literally picking out where his best angle is on you. And him having the kind of waves of other Titans kind of coming towards you, the Scorch Titans, which I found was really annoying because that tick damage just felt like it was constant. He was the most mechanical fight, I thought. Same with the what was the Sloane, like, apart from her red laser that she shot out, there was nothing kind of...
I got fucking wrecked by that.
But that was, as soon as you get tagged by it, it's like a fucking Chaos Reach. You just can't get out of it.
Yes, it's exactly like Chaos Reach. Well, I had Sloane at literally like the last bar of health, and I got that pop-up on screen. Melee to do a finishing move. I was like, oh, great, go melee. Boom, chest laser, dead. It's like, well, I'm starting this boss again. Yeah. But no, I found that. Sorry, Stephen, go on. I made my point. Go on.
I was just gonna say with the last boss area, considering you've got the fold weapon that's about to explode, they really missed out on an opportunity there to have some really cool sequences or background effects going on with
bit of a skybox and stuff.
There could have been something really cool, and I echo your thoughts. I think that was a bit of a letdown, especially because one of the fuckers just fucks off for like, "Hey, I'm not done yet."
Which the coolest part came after that fight, because when it blows up and BT chucks you out, and you're literally rock jumping and platform jumping to get to Sarah. That was really good.
Like, imagine that's where your boss fight took place.
Yeah, that would have been cool, and then it stays on one platform for a couple of minutes. Yeah.
Be like God
of
War.
I think it all goes back to, like Kev was saying, that it's tagged onto a multiplayer game. Whereas if this was fully developed as a single player game campaign, you would get that fleshed out, more intricate sequences for boss fights, individual mechanics tossed in and stuff like that.
But I think like each of the missions does a very good job of combining, like it's the sum of the parts again. It's you got your puzzle. Each mission has a puzzle you have to solve and different ways of solving that, whatever the puzzle is in each mission, and then it wraps that up very well with the moment to moment combat. So you're solving a puzzle and you're doing some combat at the same time, and it's they have a really interesting way of doing it. And I think especially we'll talk about that mission, which we've all been dodging talking about, is the time travel mission, where I knew there was a time travel mission in it because it had been spoiled for me, whatever, 5 years ago. But I didn't know it was done like that. I just thought it was we have to go back in time and save somebody, and it was really awesome. I didn't realize it was you literally have the piece of tech in your hands, and you can move it backwards and forwards at will.
Yeah.
And I thought they did that. Obviously, it creates the puzzle in the mission that you have to go to the past to progress through a doorway and then come back to the future or to the present to fight enemies, or you can't get through the fire, so you have to go to the present and then back. And it was brilliant. It was genius. It was sheer genius.
The fact that you could do it on the fly as well. Yeah. Like, there was no like, you have to get to this point and then we're going to go back in time or forward.
And Dill, actually, just speaking about that mission, actually, you said that you played on PS4.
Yep.
Did that mission perform any worse than...
No.
Because they would have had to have those two
instances
loaded
at
the same time.
The transition was so smooth.
Yeah, that's...
I couldn't believe it was a 2016 game that I was playing.
Yeah,
it was instant. There was no dropout, and especially there was one I was kind of looking for. It was at halfway through it when the floor is on fire in the past, and you have to get to the end. Yeah. You have to drop down, go back in time, and then But that whole zone, like, it was transition was so smooth in every instance, and I was so shocked. I was expecting it to be a little bit of a drop in frames, but it was so consistent. That's what I wanted to, because I knew you were playing on PC as well, just to have that the other
it's good to have it from
platform to have. But yeah, such a good mission. Really enjoyed it. Like, just if you're getting tanked by ads on one side, just to get that split second of just let me regen for 2 seconds and then jump back in was amazing. And it's like they're still in their motion. It's like it's
you get the remnants of it where you can kind of see them face.
Yeah, the kind of blue lights. Yeah. But then as soon as you go back, they're still attacking. Like, it's really good.
I loved it. I just loved running up to one and like disappearing in their view, to be behind them, to come back in a split second later, just like bam.
And they've done that really well with the speaker announcements, wasn't it? It was like, oh, we're being attacked. We don't know how they're doing it, but
brilliant. It was brilliant. And that actually goes back to what I was saying, that it's a game that's made by developers who know how to make games, and that mission just...
It was very reactive.
That mission just sets in stone that these guys knew what they were doing, and it was done so well. Like, that mission is probably a standout mission in gaming ever. Like, it's absolutely sheer genius.
I wrote the point here. It's the most innovative level with a traversal tool design ever in an FPS. Like they really did. They did so well with that. And counter to that point, then I think without that mission, that game would not receive the praise it would have. I think that mission is where people went, this game fucking slaps.
Awesome.
Yeah. Because otherwise it would be a generic FPS shooter with a generic story and cool wall running, but like COD had wall running in it at that stage as well. So that wasn't even new.
Did COD have wall running because Titanfall had wall running though?
No, that wasn't that the same. So. Advanced Warfare was the first.
What year did that come out in though?
I think wasn't that the one that I came up against?
Yeah, but the original Titanfall also.
The original Titanfall.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think Call of Duty brought it out as a reactive to Titanfall because it was so brilliant.
Like I love that mission. I think hits a lot more because it was isolated as well. Like it wasn't a mechanic that you could use elsewhere. Like it was.
I wish
I was so good when it came back and it was destroyed. I was like, oh, I thought I was gonna have that from now on.
Yeah.
Because like it was obviously made. It was made to give you that set piece of the travel back and forth to solve the puzzle. But as you were saying, I used that as almost a combat gadget.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like I'd use it to flank around an enemy, and I'd be sliding in and switch it back, shotgun, switch it back, kill one of the dogs, switch it back, take on, and it was brilliant. And like you were saying about the comms, they're like, "What's he using? How's he doing this? What's going?" And it was just
it really puts you in the moment.
Oh, it was But it created very bamboo. It was the original bamboozle, though.
The bamboozle.
The one criticism I will have of the mission, though, is
it ended.
Well, yeah, I suppose that's the other criticism. No, the exposition pieces, you had to stand stationary and listen to Anderson. Like there wasn't in your head.
Yeah,
I couldn't just go fucking run off again. Like
that's something I do naturally. Yeah, that's something I do naturally. So
he had proximity chat turned on.
Yeah, but if I get a lore piece or it's the laptops you're listening to the audio logs, I pick them up and just go off and do my thing. And then I was kind of like, I'm missing all this conversation.
Yeah.
And
I think there was one mission. I can't remember where it was, but it was the Dr. Marsden. I think it was talking. I think it's one of these you have to. It was like a collectible or something in the mission, and you're activating it. And I was like, oh shit, I have to stand here. But then he's going on and on and on and on, and I was like, I just want to go. Yeah.
It was quite brilliant. I did also love that part where it was what was it? I'll throw this up here and you can zip up, and it's like next time just throw me. Okay.
Oh yeah. It was very reminiscent of Pathfinder. I found like the kind of the robotic humor. I really like that. Like it's the direct. They don't understand sarcasm and kind of stuff like that.
Well, I guess we're moving on to talk about the characters.
I guess so.
Yeah. And Dill, you just mentioned them. The robotic humor, BT. He's the star. He's the star of the show. He's the absolute star of the show. Like, without we're talking about that mission, it would have been generic. Without BT, this game is just meh. Because the main protagonist, the guy you're playing, it could be anybody. It's just a random soldier whose commander gets killed, and your commander decides, you're gonna take over my robot from now on. And then you have that. It's very like Drax in Guardians of the Galaxy as well, where everything is so matter of fact. It's just nothing goes over my head. I'm far too fast. I catch it, and it's the same. And it's probably been done to death at this stage, but back then it wouldn't have been. And that whole matter of fact reply is it's hilarious. I was sitting here wetting myself laughing at half the stuff.
Yeah, like that part in the mission where it's like just throw me, and he just goes noted. It's so simple. You're like that. I love it. I love that reply.
And he does kind of start being more emotional towards the end when he has that relationship development with the protagonist, who I don't know even if the character has a fucking name.
Cooper.
Yeah,
Jack Cooper.
Yeah. He does have a name. You see, the most generic fucking name you could come up with. Tom Cruise will play him in a movie. Like, he's got that generic.
He already did. It's called Edge of Tomorrow.
Point proof.
And it has the time travel aspect as well.
I actually quite enjoyed that movie. But yeah, like it's just that whole you say something and he just says the most deadpan stuff back to you, and it's fucking hilarious.
Like, it gave life to a character that could have just been, this is your Titan, you use this to traverse through kind of heavy areas. It has extra machinery and weapons, blah blah blah. It gave life to that to me personally. It didn't just be like, with what happens at the end, I was like, holy shit, do I have to get a new Titan now? But I don't want the new personality. I want the personality that I've grown to build that connection with. Because it's a Neuralink, isn't it, that they use? It's not just you're using a robot. It's you have that mental connection, or
because they say at the end that they have to clean the link.
Yeah.
Wipe it from Jack's neural link or something. So yeah.
It's very
sciencey words.
Yeah, it was
just
very
to make it sound better.
Terminator-esque relationship.
Speaking of,
I can't think of the kid's name in Terminator. Fucking terrible. But between the
John
T-1000 and John Connor, like, it's that very kind of similar relationship. It's quite funny.
You could have killed that guy. That's the point.
Exactly. Sorry, Stephen. You had something you wanted to say?
No, Dill, I think was coming in there, were you?
I was moving on to another character. I was like, he spoke about Terminator. Fucking Richter was taken straight out of the Arnold Schwarzenegger handbook.
Oh, yeah.
I think he nearly said, get to the chopper, but it was like, get to the dropship or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my god. Typical fucking, bad guy.
I think, like, it's all you can say about the characters are BT was the star. Everyone else may well have been numbers. Evil mercs are evil. Like, that's...
Evil mercs were Borderlands villains.
Yeah.
That's what they reminded me of. Yeah.
They were very, like, they were tropey and generic and not
they
really interesting.
But they played their part, though. They did play their part.
Yeah. But again, it's like, well, why am I killing them? Because they're on the other side.
Because the game told me to. It says it in the top left of my screen, so I have to do it.
This is the whole... Like with movies, you can enjoy a summer blockbuster for what it is. You know you can expand on X, Y, and Z. You know if that was expanded on in a different kind of genre, it would be amazing.
100%. I agree with you for once.
Yeah.
If you kind of... You aren't 10 feet away from me.
I fucking was. I'll show you the clip.
if you go in expecting one thing, I know it's the age-old thing now with Destiny. It's like gunplay. Everything is related back to Destiny in terms of gunplay. But what did we do before Destiny? We appreciate it for what we got, you know?
No,
and it's not for lowering your...
We compared it to Call of Duty.
But no, it's not for...
Which everyone hated, by the way, so it was a crap comparison anyway.
Yeah. But just
I
in
agree
terms
with you.
of
I agree
enjoying it as a singular...
Oh, no, like, I enjoyed it, but since we're reviewing...
Oh, yeah, we're dissecting it, yeah.
And I actually think... Sorry.
No, go on.
No, far ahead. I just have a point. I can make it afterwards. Well.
No, I was just gonna say I wouldn't. If anyone is actually listening to this, I wouldn't take away that you shouldn't play the game and that you won't enjoy it. You will. Just being critical of it as a medium to say like this, these are the issues, but it's still really enjoy. As you said, it's like watching a summer blockbuster. You go in, you enjoy for what it is, and you come away feeling good.
Yeah. I actually think the summer blockbuster is actually the best way to describe the campaign of the game. It's nail on the head. It's summer blockbuster that came out in October, but it should have come out in July to not clash with Battlefield and Call of Duty. And then it would have been but then it would have been that summer blockbuster action game, and it would have been
every year.
Every year. But like, I'm really glad that as time has gone on, that people look back on it. And I'm someone who I played it when it came out, but I played up to the mission before the time travel mission, I think.
Oh my god!
And then I put it down because something came out for Destiny. This is what I mean. But something came out for Destiny, and it was probably Crota or I don't know what it was. 2016. It was sometime through in the middle of Rise of Iron. But I'm glad that people look back on it now really, really fondly, and it gets the respect that it deserves. I don't know where we swerved off from. We're talking about characters.
Like, if it did come out not alongside those blockbuster games,
or
it could have been in a whole different space. You know,
or now.
It could have been on 4 at this stage.
Yeah. If it came out
Apex
now,
could have never happened.
Yeah. But if it came out now with the way people look at Call of Duty now, it would be far more successful. Because everyone, you see it, like, Destiny players are looking for their PvP, especially PvP players, by the way. Destiny PvP players are looking for their new fix. Like, Fortnite players are still looking for their new Fortnite. Apex players are notorious for dipping in and out of the game, apart from the highest level. Like, Warzone Call of Duty players everyone's looking for it. And if this had come out now, it could have landed, and like, obviously it's rose tinted. It's hindsight is a wonderful thing, but yeah,
like that. My only gripe with the bosses and characters and stuff like that was, like Stephen was saying, I would have liked more flesh. I would have liked
100%
backstory, bit of depth. Give me a feeling that I'm taking down this big bad, you know. Whereas Blisk and Sloan were that for me, because you got that dialogue throughout the whole campaign. Blisk was numerous times telling you just to stay away, don't be the hero, drop out, let us do what we're doing. It's just a job for him, blah blah blah.
And then even at the end there, he says, "Well, job's over, so
bye." It's not a personal vendetta. I'm not getting paid for this, so bye.
I think just to hook back on the characters, the bosses, the baddies are what they are. But yeah, you do have those in the fields moments with BD as well towards the end. I keep getting fucking beard hairs in my mouth. But anyway, you have the bit where you've been captured and BD's got it chained up. And the whole place is gonna blow up and it's whatever. And he gives you the sear kit, by the way. The gun you get from the sear.
That weapon.
I think it was called.
Did that pistol not come out sooner? Seriously, that auto pistol.
Yeah, that was savage.
Oh, that was so much fun. That was actually like that part of that mission was my favorite part of the whole game. Forget about that mission.
That's
just like you're wall running, then you do some big mad double jump, it's like, and everything's dead. Oh, it was great.
When I first got it, I was literally trying to aim into the red reticles, thinking, "Oh shit, this is what I have to do."
No, it's just fire. Mr. Editor, put the clips in this part right here. 57 minutes.
Yeah,
I don't know if you know, I actually did record my entire playthrough.
Yes.
So I will actually be able to take snippets and throw them in throughout this, if I remember. Imagine video editing on your birthday. Anyway, yeah, and then you also have the bit at the end with BD where you've escaped from the whatever's going on with Sloan. You beat Sloan, you've escaped, and then he's like, "Oh, just trust me," and then he fucking yeets you. He's like, "Oh, I can't let another pilot die." So he does have that character development from I'm a robot to I'm a robot with one emotion. I love you.
Yeeting. Emotion.
In 3. Whereas, like, if that happened like that wouldn't have happened at the start of the game in terms of he probably wouldn't be able to lie to you because
like, you're annoying
like
me.
Against his protocol to not be direct with your pilot, blah blah blah. But yeah,
it was cool as well. Like, in while we're still on characters, you're going through like protocol 2 complete the mission, and then at the end when things are going on, you get 2 protocol 3s, protect the pilot. And they're both like they're both emotional, like they're nice. It's just that part where the machine goes protocol 3, you're like, oh, what's that? Protect the pilot. Yeet.
What is it about fucking summer blockbusters and having really lovable robots in it? Remember Chappie? I still haven't got over Chappie.
Can't remember what happens in Chappie, not gonna lie.
Chappie's with is it Diane Twerther in it?
No, I know what it is.
I'm pretty sure Chappie dies at the end. Spoiler alert, sorry. But anyway.
Yeah, when fucking our BT done the I am Groot and protected us when we're falling out of space.
Yeah.
And then this is the end for him. You take his seer kit in his eye, blah blah blah. I was like, oh shit. And then he comes back. I was like, oh yeah, he's fucking new coat of paint. And then he goes and dies again. I was like, Jesus Christ. Yeah. But it had the impact. It carried it.
Yeah.
I think the last 2 points really to touch on is, and we've actually touched on them already, is the length of the campaign and the performance, graphic fidelity, whatever you want to call it. So one, Stephen, you already kind of touched on the length, and after my playthrough, yeah, but after my playthrough, I was kind of like, oh, I wish the campaign was longer because I was really enjoying it. But when I think about what you said about that 5, 6, 7, if you're really slow player, not slow, just a slow gamer, which generally I am, I think it actually does work quite well when you think about it, that if it was a 10 to 12 hour campaign, you would be like, just let it end. Just let it end.
Yeah.
But because it is that compact and it is fast paced, it is literally, it's a fucking, there's no real slow missions. It is just a dash
no
to
fillers.
finish. Yeah, there's no fill. That's what it is. There's no filler. And I think if it was
all killer, no filler.
Okay, some 41, calm down. I give you a fat lip.
Mom should have had an abortion.
You're in too deep now.
You definitely don't drink in proportion, though. Anyway,
but like for what they were setting out for, I think it was perfect in terms of length of the campaign. They could have went down the road of you have to craft in between your missions, you have to do kind of housekeeping stuff. Tedious.
That would have been cool though if you could do your Titan loadout. Imagine crafting your beat
wax
loadout.
on, wax off, wax on.
But your Titan has depleted his battery. To continue the next mission, you have to go off on a scavenger hunt type thing.
See, that's what if it came out now. If it came out now or was made by BioWare, you would have been doing a hell of a lot of that.
Yeah. But I think
into their credit cards to charge BT.
Like they could have turned it into that kind of game, but what they did set out to me, the summer blockbuster, just fly through this.
Yeah.
Get onto the multiplayer. I think that's what it was.
It is exactly what Steven.
You picked it up.
Sorry, go on.
No, I'm just saying for the price that you picked it up at there 2 weeks ago, it is the perfect price for that length of campaign for what you get. It was
definitely.
But I think the campaign and the length of the campaign, it's exactly what Stephen. I know you made a joke about it, but it's the same as Dill's reference of it's summer blockbuster. It really is all killer, no filler.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's actually the perfect joke reference. GG.
You're welcome.
I'm putting that. I have to put that in my in the graphic now. All killer, no filler. What we thought of Titanfall 2's campaign. Look at that for a catch line. We're getting DMC.
There you go.
41.
What's our next point of?
The last point really is it's how it looks. The graphic, like obviously, like we don't need to talk about it. The game's gorgeous. Like just every part of the game is stunning. And the backdrops are stunning. The set pieces are beautiful.
Yeah.
But I was interested on how it performed. Now I'm playing it on a decent PC, and Steven's playing it on and I had it at a whatever. You actually can't play it. Like you can probably go in and edit it, but it actually caps it at 144 frames a second, at 1440p, and it capped it at that for me. I never drop below 140 in any situation. It's I know it's 5 years old. Maybe in 5 years, people will be able to play Cyberpunk at 45 frames a second instead of 30. But that was really interesting to hear how it performed on PS4 for Dill. And he said, looks fantastic, plays fantastic, end of story.
The FOV slider, I think, played a big part in that.
Because Apex on console has that as well.
Yeah, like even a lot of the skyboxes and just the areas, it didn't remind me of Apex straight off the bat. It actually reminded me of Destiny, like I was saying to you the other day, Kev.
Yeah, the areas, I agree.
I did feel like it could have been taken straight out of the universe.
I agree. It reminded me more, in a weird way, of what Anthem should have been, or could have been.
Yeah, because they're these alien planets. Alien to us anyway.
Yeah, but it has those beautiful backdrops, and then beautiful set pieces. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
But there's a part, I think it was on like the first or second mission, where it's the waterfalls flowing down, and this is probably moving on to our actual final point, and it's the legacy of Titanfall 2 and the legacy that it's left, and set out for Respawn. But there was a point where I was standing there and I kind of imagine this was an MMO. Or imagine this as an MMO, where you have your Titan, and it's like what Dill would have liked to have of, you can mix and match the weapons, you can make it your own Titan, and then you throw loot boxes in to get different skins and all this nonsense. But could you imagine having the three of us, or a 6-man team, all in Titans, going and doing MMO activities? It'd be like, it'd be perfect. It'd be so brilliant. It really.
Clip this and send it to Respawn.
Vince,
they're like,
Vince!
Shit. How did he know? This is what we're working on.
I actually tweeted that out in the middle of playing. I was like, Titanfall 3, can it please be an RPG MMO or MMO RPG? Because that would print fucking money.
Like, even just the open world aspect of it, I think, yeah.
Mm.
But then it would go down the Fallout route of, you can't take your BT with you or your Titan with you until you get a nuclear core or fucking more battery for it.
But you can buy 10 of them for $5.99.
Yeah.
Or get a Titanfall first.
Now expand it from 100 steps to 150 before full depletion.
You can buy one Titan box that has a chance of dropping 5 of them. It is EA we're talking about. It is EA.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would be so. It would be what Anthem should have been or could have been.
Yeah.
Just with Titans. Then again, it would probably just end up being Pacific Rim the game.
Yeah. While we're talking about Titans, the one thing I did miss from Titanfall 1, and it didn't happen in Titanfall 2. Like, I just played the multiplayer. It's good, it's fun, but it's the actual Titanfall.
Yeah.
Like, that happens with BT at the end.
Yeah, it's only once, isn't it? It happens.
But in the multiplayer in Titanfall 1, like, that is so satisfying when you call one in and you're trying to run to it while other pilots are trying to kill you, and then you get into it and you're like, fuck yeah, I'm in it now. It's just so cool seeing this hunk of metal fall to the ground and a dome appearing over it, and you're like, yeah.
I think that is one thing that we should probably should have clarified it at the beginning, that we're only reviewing the campaign here, or the story of Titanfall 2. That I know I didn't jump into PvP on Titanfall 2. I just wasn't bothered. I've watched enough of it to know how fantastic it is, and that it's a pity that it kind of died the death that it did. But it's great to see it having a spike in population at the moment. But I know I didn't play any of the multiplayer, so this isn't the discussion for you. Sorry, we should have said that an hour ago. But but we can talk about Apex, which is part of the legacy of Titanfall 2. That because of Titanfall 2's existence, Apex Legends was born. It was obviously it was being developed alongside or before at the same time as it, but was released quite a bit later. He even got the stamp on the front of BD towards the end of the game. But like, in my opinion, Apex Legends is the best BR on the market, even though it's free to play. But the gunplay and the movement it's as good or better than any of the other battle royales, and that's obviously subjective. It's not as successful as Fortnite, or I don't know if it's as successful as Call of Duty's one. Probably not, because it's Call of Duty. But in terms of the actual experience of Apex, it's the best BR in the market, in my opinion. Anyway.
Yeah. I don't think there's an argument for that. Or does it?
I haven't played it. I don't know. I did want to get into it and try it out, but
do it.
In terms of the legacy, I just have here the moment where he drops the Apex card on BT and invites you to it, and like at the first time I played it, I was like, what the fuck's this bullshit? It's like, why is this fucker leaving? I want to kill him. And then I played it this time, I was like, oh, that's really cool. It's like they actually set this up years before it came out. I was like, that's deadly.
See, when you look into it, Apex was being made around the same time as it as well. If you actually look, it was actually it was a thing.
Okay.
Whereas it did leave you with the whole the big main protagonist or antagonist is getting away. Like, why is there no like follow up to get him? And he was leaked to be one of the characters in Apex as well. So that would have been a nice tie-in. But yeah,
I think for
killed,
me anyway.
Yeah.
For me anyway, when I was playing through Titanfall 2's campaign, it almost felt like I was playing the prologue campaign for Apex.
Yeah.
It was, here's your 5 hours. Oh, and the Battle Royale was born. Obviously, that didn't happen in Titanfall, but that's what it felt like to me anyway, and that's kind of how I approached it. It was, if Apex had a campaign, it would be this. And I really enjoy it because of that. One thing I will say, though, is that Titanfall 3 has been begged for years, and poor Vince has to shoot it down every single time. It's like, we are not making this game. We have no plans to make this game. So you're saying there's a chance.
Which is unfortunate because of how amazing it feels to play, and like the reception that it obviously got on release wasn't what they attempted, because they were very firm on combating the other big boys, Battlefield and Call of Duty at the time.
I reckon that was probably an EA thing.
Yeah. That was definitely this is coming out on this date. We need to rival these.
Battlefield is an EA.
Battlefield is EA, yeah. But yeah, it could have been, you know.
I think, and I could be completely wrong here. This is obviously tinfoil hat. I think Battlefield and Call of Duty, while they are compared a lot, they're very different in how they're played. So I think Titanfall was probably EA's idea of, we're going to take some of Call of Duty's sets.
Call of Duty.
Because obviously Call of Duty players and Battlefield players Call of Duty's generally what it was 6v6 back then, whereas Battlefield was 32v32, whatever, I don't know how many.
And half-an-hour games.
Yeah, and half-an-hour games. So a lot of Call of Duty players weren't interested in playing Battlefield because they were kids.
Yeah.
Whereas I think Titanfall, they saw Titanfall as maybe their opportunity to steal some of that spotlight, and it probably was to the detriment of the game.
It was at the time as well when Call of Duty was getting flack for being samey and pumping out the same shite every year. So the strategy could have worked, you know, pull from Call of Duty's.
It's a pity.
Lost, but it didn't. Yeah.
Pity.
So,
however,
that's
one more point on that, and it's about Respawn as opposed to Titanfall itself. That I think Respawn are one of the very rare occurrences where a developer actually has leverage over their overlords. Like, you look at Activision with Destiny, eventually Destiny just went, yeah, we're out, peace. Whereas if you look at what goes on at Activision with Toys for Bob, who put out one of the games of the year last year, and they went, right, you guys, you're fired. You guys, you're going to work in Call of Duty. Whereas I think Respawn are one of very few, and hopefully it's the case, they're few developers who actually do have that. This is what we want to make, and we're going to make it. Because look at Jedi Fallen Order. Look at Apex, was obviously a money printing machine for EA. But they got to make Jedi Fallen Order, and it's probably more of the legacy of that than Titanfall. But because of the success of Jedi Fallen Order, Respawn have their own brand new IP in development. That EA have gone, yeah, you guys make what you want. People like you make what you want. So it's nice to see a studio that are very good at making video games get to make the video games that they want to make. And that's, in modern industry, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think that comes down to, I think, isn't Vince actually on the board of directors of EA as well?
He may be, I don't know.
Some was saying that because he's in that position, that he actually, as a creative director of the studio, he can bring that into a board and convince them at the highest level, rather than trying to convince them as like the subordinate to the board.
And I probably wouldn't even get to that stage either.
Exactly.
Like, so Respawn are the kind of studio who historically, well, modern history, would have just been sucked up into the overlords. Like, it's happened. Activision have done it to so many developers. EA have done
Would have
it.
been BioWare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
They would have gone the way of BioWare of just printing out the same shite because it made sales once and there's a market for it.
So hopefully this new IP that they're working on is what they want to be working on and comes to lots of success because they deserve it. Like Jedi Fallen Order is another Respawn game, and that's a fantastic game.
Yep.
Sorry.
So what I was going to say was, seeing as that was the last of our points, do you want to give an arbitrary score between 1 and 10 to the game?
I don't like giving scores out of 10 to stuff, personally, but...
It's out of 50.
Out of 50. 44.5. No, what I will say is...
On a 7-point Likert scale.
On a don't recommend to highly recommend, I think when the game launched in 2016 for $60, $70, euro, sterling, whatever your local currency is, I wouldn't have recommended it at full price unless you were going to deep dive into the PvP side of it. Mm-hmm. But now you can get it on Game Pass. You can get it through EA Access. You can get it on Steam. I think it's like 20 quid. And it's on sale every other month. And I imagine I'm willing to put my own money down to say that because of the success of last weekend, it will be free to play for another weekend, either on Steam or on the PSN very soon. I actually, not PSN, Xbox, because it got the 120 hertz update on Xbox.
Oh, it did, yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the games that is getting that upgraded, whatever bollocks it's called.
FPS
I'd be willing to put down money that it'll get a free to play weekend on Xbox quite soon.
Or June's games for gold.
Or that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would highly recommend it.
I'll just answer what you asked, Stephen. I'll give it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I think if I was to give it a score, 8 is probably fair.
Like, it loses to 2 mainly because I wanted more of a story.
Yeah.
I wanted more fleshed out characters. Not to say I'm not happy with what I got, but it did set the foundations of I wanted to delve more into that universe that it created, because it did create universe. It wasn't just name dropping for the sake of name dropping.
It was an interesting universe.
Yeah. And like we're experiencing it in
Yeah.
Apex now in terms of we get the comic strips each season. That ties into the different planets. Like Olympus is the floating city above the capital, blah blah blah. You're seeing like how the residents of that are, and it's like literally the rich and the poor.
Evil, so.
But yeah, it's that's from the same universe, so it obviously has that fleshed out. It's there, but it doesn't get conveyed through the game, which I think is unfortunate. But for what it is, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and just to comment on this 8 out of 10 that I'm saying I'm giving it, that is including the PvP side of it, 100%. I haven't played it myself, but I've watched enough videos and highlights and clips to know that the PvP side of that game is even better than the PvE side, and the PvE side is very fondly remembered. So I would, it's included in my rating if I was to give one. Stephen, I know you're sitting there and you want to give yours. Go on, off you go.
No, well, I'll start by saying I do recommend it when it's on sale. I think if you're gonna just play the campaign, don't pay 20 quid for it. I would get it either through Game Pass or pay, 10 or less. It's worth jumping in for that alone.
Very professional.
If I was to give it a rating, I would say 7 out of 10. Too much water. Simple as. No, it's
So you're still saying it's better than Cyberpunk? Because that got a 4.
I actually think Dale is right. I think I got captured into the universe a bit, and I'm more harsh on it because it didn't give me more, and it's not going to now at this stage, because that's disappointing. So if you're going in it just to shoot some bad guys for whatever, go for it. But if you're gonna get the story and
what you're saying there is that you're looking at what it doesn't give you. And that's something that I've tried to stop doing. Actually, I saw it someone said it on Twitter a couple of months ago. I think it might have been Pope Bear that's on the Destiny Community podcast. And he put out a tweet basically saying he was apologizing to Bungie devs for all the hassle he's given them over the years and all this. But he basically said that he's stopped looking at what things doesn't do for you. He says you'll find much more happiness and enjoyment if you look at what something does do for you, as opposed to look at what it doesn't do for you. And that's kind of the way I approach everything.
It's true, but I think
I'm a very optimistic pessimist.
But I think it's endearing to the developers that they created a universe where I went into it for 5 to 6 hours and came out going, I want more.
Yeah.
And then they're not giving me more, and they never will. So it's not a negative like, they're lazy fuckers, they didn't do it. It's like they created something
that you wanted more of.
Yeah, I wanted to be in it more, and they didn't. And it's unfortunate.
I think that's why a lot of companies do get the flack that they do, is because people wanted to succeed so much. They want that lived on. They want to live on in that universe. They want that to be successful. They want to spend 20 hours a week playing it, but
amateur
not physically can't do it,
Yeah. And that is the thing. It is a 6-hour campaign, and unless you're deep diving into the PvP, it has maybe 10 hours of content for you.
But in terms of when that came out, that was the era of you're buying your Call of Duty and your Battlefield every November, September to play it as a multiplayer game. Like I remember I used to be laughed at because I'd buy Call of Duty and I wouldn't play the multiplayer until I played the campaign. I always felt like that was the process that I had to go through. Play the campaign, get used to the new weapons, blah blah blah, story if it's there, experience the maps that are being pulled from the campaign itself.
Yeah.
Whereas
and I think
even the weapons,
just the feel of it as well.
I think the campaign in Titanfall, while I do think a lot of it is brilliant, it was made to give you the experience of playing the game to then go into the PvP side.
Okay.
And as with it being like that, I think it's brilliant. From what it is set up as and actually being developed as well as it was, it really is fantastic.
Go play it. It's basically
go play it.
Recommendation. Yeah.
Go play it. It's quite cheap. A lot of the time,
it's on sale.
Always on sale. It really is. It's always on sale. So it rarely costs more than £10-15 /euro. So
it's probably going to cost less than a pint in Ireland soon.
Yeah, I think you don't even need to be in Temple Bar to get ripped off that much.
Anyway, are we done?
I think that's a nice way to finish it, yeah.
So, we're saying pros are gameplay is excellent, movement especially. The individual missions are fantastic. The characters are quite good, with BD being the absolute standout.
BD is from Star Wars.
BD, yeah.
And
BD is your fucking robot in Fallen Order.
Same person, character, whatever. Another robot we love. And then obviously the cons being it's quite short. If that's a con, we agree to disagree. And then the actual campaign itself isn't fantastic, but the sum of its parts are greater than the entirety.
Yeah.
Okay, so we shall hit the news quickly, which again, Thursday came around. We need to have the podcast on Wednesday because then the news doesn't come out till the following day. And I'm sure there's a This Week at Bungie coming out in the next 20 minutes as well. But anyway, I will go onto the news. I will share it into Discord so you boys can see. And then I will start talking about that. Before I do the news, free games. The one on the Epic Game Store for this week is called, I had it open in front of me, it's called Pine. It's an open world action adventure simulation game set in a beautiful world. You take on the role of a young adult who will have to explore, trade, and fight his way through a vibrant world filled with creatures much smarter than humans.
Sounds like Kulak.
It sounds like Kulak. The game's coming to Game Pass. You can see there in front of you. The highlights obviously being Red Dead Online for cloud and console. You got Final Fantasy X and X2. Remnant Into the Ashes is there. And Loot Box Simulator football player game to 2021 is also for console and PC. So don't buy FIFA, get it through Game Pass. Don't give EA your money. Give Microsoft your money instead. They're a much smaller organization. And then if you forgot, the PS Plus games went live 2 or 3 days ago. And that was Battlefield 5, Stranded Deep, and Wreckfest.
Very underwhelming.
Yeah. They're not something I'd be interested in, but Battlefield is good advertisement for the new one. And then, just before I do go on to the news fully, the games coming out this week, you have HUD Outlaws and Legends. I think that's a kind of PvEVP game again. It's like a Robin Hood PvEVP game. I haven't looked into it too much. The highlight of the week is obviously Resident Evil Village, which I will not be playing because I'm a little bitch. But that's getting quite positive reception as far as I'm aware. It's a Resident Evil game. People, it's true to the franchise, so people are enjoying it. And Metro Exodus Enhanced Edition is out on PC only, and that is the first game, here's your trivia, that is the first game to require an RTX card. There you go. CD Projekt Red, take notes. Your game should have been refined to an RTX card. And while I'm on that, we'll talk about Cyberpunk.
1 week. Just 1 week without
this isn't me. This isn't me praising for once. This is not me praising Cyberpunk. Jason Sharp put out this article the other day, talking about the bonuses that the managers will take. Without breaking it down, roughly $30 million has been split between the 600 or so staff, and there's another $30 million been split between 5 people. So people aren't too happy about that. But yeah,
rightly so.
Rightly so. I'm not really gonna go into it too much because, yeah, it's capitalism, isn't it? Unfortunately, that is the world we live in. Good news. Sony trademarked Sunset Overdrive. Apparently, well, it appears that way. So Sunset Overdrive was a game developed by Insomniac Games and released as an Xbox exclusive. Insomniac Games have since been captured. Is that the right word? Captured by Sony, and they developed
forced to work on things
forced
they don't want to work on.
Yeah, but Insomniac created Infamous Second Son, which was one of the games of the PS4, in my opinion. It's fantastic. They make really good, high quality games. So it looks like a Sunset Overdrive remake or remaster even is coming for PlayStation probably some point this year. And to touch on that, I don't know if either of you have anything to say about that. I haven't played Sunset Overdrive, but it looks colourful. Touching on that, I don't know how true this is, but it was a reply to the post on this. And apparently there is a Sunset Apocalypse coming to PS5 from Insomniac Games. So it's apparently getting a sequel. The other standout here, if true, take this with a pinch of salt from this guy. It could just be done in Microsoft Word, who knows. GTA 5 is apparently coming to the PS5 in October because we needed that on another generation of consoles.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's nothing else stand out here. Apparently this is like their next state of play or something like that. Moving on. Jeff Keighley announced that he will be hosting opening night of Gamescom again this year. That is on August 25th. And just to double down on the Gamescom stuff, they announced that it is going to be all digital, which is not unexpected. So that begins on August 25th and runs to August 27th. Gamescom is actually something that I'd be interested in going to.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it's in Germany, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's, yeah. Apparently Gamescom is the
Well, now you don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah, but maybe next year. Apparently Gamescom is like the sweatiest place in all of the world. Apparently it's quite bad, overcrowded, but I'd still like to go. But yeah, that's on at the end of August. Next up, the big news of the last week. Let's be honest,
Massive. Yeah.
This is huge. Like, this could take up a podcast all by itself. This is fucking huge news. PlayStation have announced, after Microsoft were speaking with Discord, by the way, PlayStation have announced that they have a new partnership with Discord. The real story here is that there's most likely going to be a Discord application on PlayStation 5 within the next year or so. And as Destiny players, that's fucking huge news.
Especially with a lot of crossplay coming out as well.
Yeah. And I think that's why this is happening, because of crossplay.
It really does bridge that gap between communications of other devices, because as Discord is so popular, not a lot of people use in-game chat.
No,
very rarely, because you can't filter in what sound you're getting, whether it's voice or in-game noise. It's just not a good experience all around. So yeah,
I just think like with like, even if it was the most basic bitch Discord app on PlayStation, where you can literally only join audio chats, even that would be phenomenal.
Yeah, that's
like,
all it needs, because
that's all it needs.
That is all it needs.
Yeah. If we were able to play with people on PlayStation that do raids that we played with in Destiny 1, that we were able to go back and play with them without them having to be on their phone or a laptop, it'd be fantastic. So I can't wait for that.
Yeah,
I still see you eat your chicken.
Yeah, but no one else does. It's okay. Last couple of pieces here. Hitman developers IO Interactive are apparently developing a fantasy game, fantasy IP, which features dragons. Of course, needs more dragons and shit.
It's WoW. It is just ended now.
But
it's
they're
Final
working.
Hitman 3, Dragon Age. That's all it is.
Agent 47.
You have to stealth kill a dragon.
Yeah, he's getting that Fusho Ra or whatever it's fucking called. But apparently it's an Xbox exclusive fantasy game, and that's great. Xbox are really setting themselves up as the place for fantasy players, aren't they?
I think they're just really setting themselves up in general. Like, not in terms of hardware, but in terms of, like, this is the space we want you to come and play. Like, this is where we have everything you will need.
Yeah.
Every company you have liked over the last few years, we'll go buy them once you come to our space to play the game. We don't care if you want to play it on a browser, here's xCloud.
Yeah.
You want to play it on a PC, here's Game Pass. Want to play on your PlayStation, go fuck yourself.
Actually, no.
Well, you can play xCloud on a browser.
You can play it through a browser on a PlayStation.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Other way around.
Xbox.
Other way around,
Yeah.
You can play Death Stranding on an Xbox through a web browser.
There you go.
Which is insane. But like Dill's right. It's that they are setting up a space that, you're going to come to our space to play it, but that space is so open to everybody. Like, they are really setting themselves up for the future. 100%. They're invested. Like,
that's
Game
what it sounds
Pass,
like, isn't it? Future-proofing themselves.
Yeah, Game Pass is not a money-making thing right now, but in 5 years' time, everyone will have it. It'll be like Netflix.
It's their equity fund.
Yeah, and like they're just setting up the future, and they're playing the long game, and Uncle Phil is doing good work there. Last couple of things.
Divorce fund. That's what this
he's had a bad week. He's had a bad week.
Yeah, at least he knows where all the vaccinated chicks are.
That's true. That's true. E3 2021 confirmed a few more studios attending this year, and there's two that I'm looking at here, and I don't want them. Don't give me hope, but especially this one right here, Bandai Namco. There's a certain game in development at Bandai Namco. Well, it's in development From Software, but it's been published by these boys, and I don't want to believe that we're getting a big announcement this year because I'm going to be disappointed if we don't. So yeah, tune in for not Elden Ring.
It has to be though.
It has to be.
Like it's been a good year since we've heard about it initially,
2 years,
and seen nothing since.
700 and something days. Yeah. There's like on the subreddit they actually go.
There's actually a countdown.
Yeah,
but in terms of how radio silent they are,
yeah, they've been quite silent. Except for the leak that apparently came out, which is actually not apparently.
There was
the leaked footage on some guy's phone. Like, hopefully we get something. Because this is basically, it's an open world Dark Souls. Like, that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's the Elder Scrolls Dark Souls edition.
And also go down the Godfall route. And everyone wants it, and then nobody plays it.
Deal.
Because there's been so much hype built up around it that
I just think it's funny, and this actually goes back to when Demon's Souls the remake was announced for PS5. The amount of people I saw get so excited for Demon's Souls that we're never gonna play it. Yeah. It's weird. I don't get it. It's jumping on the bandwagon. Also, Square Enix, they make games that we like. They make Final Fantasy. Please give us Remake Part 2. Thanks very much.
But they also make games that we don't like.
And 16.
That's very true. Anyway, last piece of news to go on today is this was announced by Ubisoft. It's The Division Heartland. No real information here, apart from it's free to play and it's due out next year and you can sign up for the early test phase. Myself and Dylan have the theory that this is going to be similar to Scavengers, but in the Tom Clancy Division universe, which will be really cool. So it'll be interesting to see what that actually is. They also announced other stuff such as the Netflix film is in development with Jake Gyllenhaal and Jessica Chastain. They announced about there's a novel coming out and that they're continuing to work on Division 2. But this was the real highlight, and I assume we learn more about this at E3.
I can't believe we have a Division verse. Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. Like, it's just unfortunate that the IP that it is didn't catch on because it once you play the campaign, there's nothing else to do in terms of
the end game wasn't very well done. By the way, Stephen, you said a Division verse. Do you mean Die verse? Sorry, I'll let myself out.
You will. Well, you'll end the podcast and then you'll go.
That's fair.
But if it's a combat for BR, because if they want to put their name into the BR hat and see what comes out, that would be great, because not that everyone's jumping on the bandwagon, but it is a very popular thing over the last few years. It gives longevity to certain titles. It adds more dynamic to games that wouldn't have been a couple of years ago.
I think that was the one big disappointment that I knew for a lot of people with Division 2 was that the Dark Zone was kind of neutered a bit. So it could be just a reinvention of their Dark Zone. Yeah. But as a battle royale,
and fully fleshed.
That was my favorite part of the Division 1 was the Dark Zone. I loved just annoying people in there for hours. We weren't even fucking that very good players. It was just fun being bullies for a bit. In a game, not in real life, in a game. And it'd be really cool to actually see them create a fully fledged version of that with, say, 100, or probably not 100, but 100 people. So whatever, 30 teams, 33 teams on the map. That could be really cool.
Yeah.
What was Division? Division was 4 on a team, was it, or 3? It was 4.
4?
4. Yeah, so 4. So it'd be 20. So 25 teams. That would be really, really cool.
Yeah.
And if it's anything less, I'm going to be disappointed and angry. Not really.
What was that you said a few minutes ago about not looking for things that aren't in the games?
Then they better be making that separately. I'm only joking.
That's the mobile version.
I'll just play Scavengers, by the way. Just to go back to Scavengers, if you're not playing it, give it a fucking shot. Once Scavengers goes out of early access, it's gonna be gangbusters for a bit.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be like Fortnite level or nonsense.
No, it'll be nice to have in a rotation. I think it'll be like Tarkov in terms of popularity.
Yeah, I think it'll be Tarkov light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that all the news for us?
That's everything. That's everything. We've all done. We've done everything. Record time. So yeah, that's us. I think. As always, all of the links to the articles I've shown will be down below. All my sources, my tomato ketchup sauces, will be down there. So if you're interested, go follow them. Yeah, that's us for this week, I think.
Nice.
You can see my name. You can find me here. Not that you want to. Go here instead. Thank you very much.
And just on terms of doing the review process, I think we've all agreed that our next game is going to be Scavengers. So I think we're all going to jump in this week.
I think we should try get that done for next Thursday while it's still hot out the oven. Get a couple of hours in. Get our impressions of that. Definitely.
It'd be interesting to get Stephen involved in it as well, to see from someone who hasn't played it and hasn't had much to say on it.
And sure, if worst comes to the worst and I'm not available or you're not available, Etsky just volunteered himself. Mm-hmm. He didn't really, but he has now.
You got an angry comment or tweet.
No, just that if there is the situation where the three of us can't be available to play together,
there will be one night though.
Yeah, there will be a one night. And if worst comes to the worst, we'll just do it live next Thursday and record as we talk. And that'd be terrible.
But yeah,
especially when I'm dead all the time. Actually, is there a revive mechanic in the game?
Yeah, there's a revive mechanic.
You respawn. Unless everyone dies, you respawn a minute later.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Oh, grand. Yeah. Cool, because that is going to be me for most of
it. It's
not detrimental if you die, basically.
It's a really good loop, a gameplay loop. It's fun. It's free to play. Like, if you haven't given it a shot, you're not a fucking gamer. Simple. That's my 2 cents.
I've downloaded it.
Cool.
Ked's 2 cents.
Trademark.
All right, I think that's it for this week. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
Hope we didn't
No, Dill. Me and you are okay. Me and you are okay, Dill. All the hate is going to Stephen this week.
Yeah.
We were generally quite positive about it. He's like, it's shit. No, Titanfall's shit. Don't play it. It's crap. He didn't say that.
I mean, I didn't say that, but that's the part that's going to get clipped now.
That's the first 10-second intro this week.
Yeah. I'm going to put that in somewhere.
We hope it wasn't too convoluted. It was enough to get
I think just before we finish up, like, it was the first time we've done something like this where we have reviewed something. So I enjoyed doing it, and it's something that I'd like to do again. And obviously, as we do it more, we'll improve.
And let us know what you think of it as well. Did you enjoy it? Or what would you like to hear more of or less of? Or maybe not again? Or if Kev decides putting gameplay, does it work? Or if he doesn't, put it in.
Kev will put in gameplay. So the podcast may be a little bit late this week because it's my birthday tomorrow, and fuck everybody if they think I'm editing the video on my birthday, even though I'm going to do it. But thanks for tuning in.
Happy birthday, by the way, for tomorrow.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Birthday.
Yeah.
I'm not quite old yet, but I'm on the threshold.
You're teetering.
You're on the threshold.
Oh, I like it. We're ending on that. Yeah. Thanks for tuning in. Bye. What a game.